to Morning Joy, where truth matters. I'm your host, Keith Downey. And are there any good films out today that align with our faith values? Well, we're joined today by Morning Joy friend Katie Ruvi to find out. She's the co-host of Is This for Kids, an entertaining, humor-filled podcast helping you make informed decisions for your kids' media diet, and also the host of the Frontiers of Faith for the Pontifical Mission Societies. Good morning and welcome back to the show. You're welcome.
Love when the missions get the shout out. I'm so excited about it. Love the missions.
Absolutely. No, you guys do great work over there for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, there's all the controversy this week with the new Luce. I'm sure you've talked about it a little bit.
Oh, boy.
But everybody was up in arms about her rosary that she wears around her neck. And they're like, why is it a rainbow rosary? Immediately, I knew what that was. I was like, she's got a mission rosary. Our girl's got the mission rosary. It was invented by Venerable Fulton Sheen to get people to pray for the missions.
There's so many little details on this figure that if you don't look for them, you're just going to completely miss them like that. Like I saw the cross necklace. I'm like, oh, that's cool. But I didn't think any further to look into further detail. But yeah, you're right. It's incredible.
It's a mission rosary.
That's right. Speaking, we're kind of in mission territory when we're talking about film because it can be really hit or miss when it comes to films. But kind of in, I guess, the spirit of Hallowtide. I know today's not Halloween, it's All Saints Day. But recently you shared your top 5 kid-friendly Halloween movies on Is This for Kids? I'm curious to know which one out of all 5, maybe a couple, that you would consider the best.
We talked about my favorite one a couple of weeks ago, Monster Summer, which is absolutely incredible. I keep bringing it up everywhere I go because I love it and I want it to be something that the Catholics support. But the other one that I really like that is maybe a little less popular and people haven't heard of it in a while is Paranorman, which is kind of a weird little Norman Babcock is able to speak to the dead, and it's real freaky, and they're mostly just nice people, and he has a little mission that he has to accomplish, and it's very kid friendly, but it's just like a little bit more complicated than your average kid movie. And the only thing that's really scary about it is that the people are dead. But from a Catholic perspective, we have this love of speaking to our saintly brothers and sisters all the time. Now, this is obviously, the movie's not Catholic. It's not trying to do that. But it's a great bridge conversation you can have with your kids, because eventually someone's going to come to them and ask them, like, why are you praying to the saints? And if your kids have come up with this idea their entire life, like Halloween has always been about praying for and to their saintly brothers and sisters in heaven and for their grandfathers and grandmothers that have passed away, this isn't like a tough question to answer anymore. Whereas like our boomer and Gen X moms, dads, sisters, and brothers kind of didn't have this answer in their back pocket. And we've got great ones now. So
that's true. It's all thanks to it's a great Catholic media, like Is This for Kids and the Pontifical Mission Society there.
And Guadalupe Radio Network.
Well, thank you.
I know a guy who works there.
Really? Oh, wow.
It's you.
He must be great. So another film that I thought was interesting that I had no idea about was this. It's not a Lego, like an official Lego movie, but it's called Piece by Piece. What is all about this Lego film?
Yeah, I mentioned that I was going to go see it last time I was on, and I was like, I have no idea what to expect from this. Oh, no, wait, that was Wild Robot. Actually, both of those I didn't know what to expect in any event. So Piece by Piece very much looks like a kid's movie when you watch it. You're like, it's a Lego movie. Cool. And I'm not saying it's not a kid's movie. It's not inappropriate. It's rated PG and appropriately so. But it's a biography about the life of Pharrell Williams, who ends up being like this incredibly interesting guy. Like I had to Google his whole life to make sure I wasn't advocating for a person who I was going to find out later committed some horrific crimes. And maybe later I'll find out he did. But for now, like watching him grow up, he was a poor kid in the projects. He had married parents his entire childhood. And he was sort of a weirdo. Like, they constantly talk about he had no connection to street culture. He was a black kid who skateboarded, which isn't normal, I guess. And he just sort of eschews being stuck in a box. And we see this with our kids so much lately that they're being told they need to just hurry up and buy an identity. Identify as something and start making purchases or medical decisions or whatever to support that identity that you've chosen, and then defend the boundaries of it with every part of your being. And Pharrell just completely rejects that. Like he's all over the place. He's collaborating with country singers, with pop stars, with everybody. And then you see him go, and in times of in his life, like during the blurred lines phase of his life, he goes and talks to his pastor. In the movie, you see Lego Pharrell go into a Lego church while Lego pastor with his Lego collar on sits there and tells him, like, hey, you're not serving God in what you're doing right now. And it is the like most countercultural message I've seen in a movie about hip hop. It's wild.
That is wild. I would never have never expected to see anything. Well, Lego, they're what, Swedish? What are they? No, I don't remember the exact.
I don't even know.
But they've gone out of their way to not have anything religious of any nature. So it's kind of cool that they implemented some sort of faith element into, and well, even though it's not.
And Pharrell just doesn't seem to care. Like, this is who I am. It's built who I am. He talks about his grandma saying, like, your work has to serve the greater community, or there's no point to it. It's like this rejection of individualism, of cementing an identity. It's really very cool, and I really like it, especially if you have weird kids.
Well, there we go. The recommendation there. But okay, so the Lego movie, but not really / Lego movie. One film that this is kind of going into November here, movies, but have you heard of Conclave? That movie?
Yeah, we're getting a lot of requests to do Conclave, and I watched the preview for it, read some criticisms. I have yet to see it. I'm going to go see it this weekend because EWTN has requested that we do it. Ooh. And I'm like, I'm pretty confident this was never meant to be for kids because it's boring. Like, it's like, kids, would you like to go see an Aaron Sorkin style movie about the church? But my understanding is that there is a bit of an agenda hidden in this, and that I'm not going to like it. So we're going to look at it and see what we make of it. Right.
Initially, when I saw the trailer too, I'm like, oh, this is kind of like the behind-the-scenes political type of film where they're talking about this is, the conclave of picking and choosing the Pope. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I don't think I've seen something like that before. But then when I read deeper into it, and I don't want to, well, I don't know if it'd be worth spilling the spoiler here, but it's not, it's not gonna leave you with a good thought in mind.
The thing I was thinking is, like, I was expecting it to be disrespectful to the church in the way that, like, the Borgias was, if you ever saw that, where, like, they're playing up the sexier angles of the church or the corruption or all of that kind of thing. I kind of expected that, but like, we'd be foolish to pretend there's no corruption in that process. So I was expecting to feel like, oh, you guys are overplaying. If the Vatican was really this powerful, it would be amazing. But anyway, I was expecting that to be my objection. But hearing at the end that it was more of you're either going to move into this ideology that the world is embracing or destroy the entire church. And I suspect the bad guy is going to be the guy who wants to blow up the church rather than embrace this ideology. And I'm like, he's not the bad guy.
Yeah, I know.
We'll see how it goes. I haven't seen it yet, so I'm judging a book by its cover at this point.
And apparently it was a book originally, from what I've heard. So it's a book turned to movie. Oh. So if you wanted to, you could maybe read the book, but I don't know. Maybe not. Probably not worth the full
Who's
read.
Got time for that? We're all going to die soon. Memento Mori.
Memento Mori. That's right. Remember, you will die. That's the whole.
It's a good time to remember that. During Hallowtide is the perfect time to remember.
It really is. Now, November is dedicated to the souls, right? The poor souls. Is there anything that you're looking forward to film-wise that might...
Yes.
I don't know if that's going to carry the theme, but yeah, what are some films out there that are interesting?
Not so much for the poor... Well, I can stretch it. Let's make it fit the theme. So November is when we start seeing Christmas movies come out, and I have never been more excited to see a Christmas movie preview than I was for The Best Christmas Pageant Ever.
Okay.
I read the book in 4th grade. It's one of my favorite Christmas books. It's about a family that is extremely poor and also extremely poorly behaved, which tends to happen if your mom's at work all the time or if your dad has a substance abuse problem or something, which is the case for this family. They're not able to be supervised as much as they should. And so they come in and they want to do the church Christmas pageant, and they want to be Mary and they want to be Joseph and they want to participate. And all of the very stuffy, waspy characters, you cannot let these naughty children be. And then we get the message that Christ died for those naughty children. Like, that's exactly what this is. And this is a movie that's being put out in a secular theater, a secular audience with a very, very, very Christian message. It's also going to be hilarious. The cast is fantastic. And it's one of those movies that I need our Catholic brothers and sisters to show up in full force for, because we want more movies like this one. And please go read the book also, because it's way worth your time.
Kind of reminds me of Monster Summer, right? So that was another great film that had that theme. Wasn't forcing it down your throat, Catholic themes, but they were there with a great cast as well.
Yeah, we want to support these movies. The more often that you can find a movie that has something vaguely redeemable, something true, good, or beautiful in it, goodness gracious, we need to be in there for those.
Amen. That's 100% true. My goodness. Is there any other film out there that...
Gosh, November is a little bit rough. I'm trying to think off the top of my head what's coming out.
It's okay. I think, and I could be wrong, there's the Lord of the Rings. There's like an anime Lord of the Rings thing that's coming out.
There is an anime Lord of the Rings coming out. I'm not sure if it's coming out in November. It might be. You could be right
November,
there.
December. I can't remember what it was, but that's one that that's piqued my interest. I'm a big fan of Lord of the Rings. I don't know if anybody out there is as well, but anytime I see something, even if it's the Rings of Power, which it's hit or miss. We talked about that previously.
Yeah.
It still gets my my Lord of the Rings fix. I think I'll call it that.
Yeah. Something about fall and Christmas makes it feel like it's supposed to be Hobbit time.
Yes.
I think it's because we're all starting to get shut up into the house and we're having to live in these small spaces. And suddenly mead sounds delicious. But mead is gross. Like, I need you all to know this. Honey wine is gross.
I've heard it's okay, but I haven't ever tried mead before, so I can't make a comment on that.
Oh my goodness. Well, yeah, very excited for November. It's going to be cool. Turkey trots and all that coming up. Love it. That's
right. Looking forward to hearing all about some of the great films in the later half of November with you. But Katie, we can also catch you on Is This for Kids? It's on EWTN now, right? You mentioned? Yeah, on their on-demand app. They've just started putting stuff out there on their Instagram and getting everybody excited about it. So you can check it out on EWTN On Demand. Or if you have non-Catholic kids, you're getting non-Catholic grandkids coming into the world, you can send them to our YouTube link. That is sort of scrubbed of the expressly Catholic content. And instead it's just secularized so that they can give it to anybody, but still get those Catholic values in. Awesome. It's almost 2 different shows. I love it. And we can also catch you on the Frontiers of Faith for the Pontifical Mission Society. So thank you so much for joining us, Katie. We appreciate you every time you come on. Me. Absolutely. And that's it for Morning Joy, where truth matters. Now, of course, you can take a couple paths. You can stay and listen to the Holy Mass coming up next. If that's the case, please pray for us. We will continue to pray for you. Otherwise, we'll see you bright and early on Monday morning, 6 a.m. Central, 7 a.m. Eastern, here on Morning Joy, where truth matters.